Hello and welcome to Comic Drake, where I talk about comic books and my name is Drake. Batman and Robin are as perfect for each other as salt and pepper, peanut butter and jelly, pickles and ice cream. What, just me on that last one? Regardless, these two are the most well-known crime-fighting duo ever. But did you know that there have actually been many people who have taken up the mantle as Robin? Let's get started at the beginning with the first Robin, Dick Grayson, the Boy Wonder. Dick first appeared in Detective Comics number 38 in 1940, and it's likely that most of you guys already know his story. Dick was the son of the famous acrobats the Flying Graysons, but when their circus owner didn't pay mob boss Tony Zuko their protection money, he killed Dick's parents by sabotaging their trapeze. It just so happened that Bruce Wayne was in the audience at the time, and seeing echoes of himself in Dick, he took him in as a ward and trained him up to be the first Robin. Dick later went on to form the Teen Titans with some other sidekicks and was even their leader for many years. Yet, as most kids do once they turn into angsty teenagers, Dick and Bruce started butting heads constantly. With him spending most of his time with the Titans, Bruce flat out told Dick that he no longer wanted him as a partner. Enraged, but also inspired by a story told to him by Superman, Dick went solo as the hero Nightwing. Nightwing's solo career lasted for quite a while, but when Batman apparently died in the final crisis, Dick put aside his personal mantle and took up the role of the second Batman. When it was discovered that Bruce wasn't dead and really just went back in time to become a caveman, a witch hunter, a pirate, look, we'll get into that in some other video. Long story short, Bruce is back and became Batman again. After Bruce's return in the events of Flashpoint, which led into the New 52, Dick returned to his solo career as Nightwing, but now with the new red costume. During the Forever Evil event, Dick was captured by the crime syndicate and had his identity revealed to the world, so Bruce helped him fake his death and sent him on a mission as a spy with the Spiral Agency for a yet unknown purpose. Shortly after Bruce fired Dick, he found a troublesome scamp by the name of Jason Todd stealing the wheels off of the Batmobile. Impressed by the boy's gumption and skills, he took him in as a second Robin. Jason Todd first appeared in Batman number 357 in 1983 and was generally hated in comparison to Dick, which is odd considering that Jason's original origin just had him as a carbon copy of Dick Grayson right down to the dead circus parents. When I'm saying fans hated Jason, I'm really not kidding. In 1998, DC held an event wherein the Joker captured Jason Todd. Fans were to call in and vote if he should be found alive or dead, and they voted him dead. Over a decade later, after an alternate universe Superman shattered reality by punching it, yes, that actually happened, Jason Todd came back as the villain Red Hood, hell-bent on avenging his own death against the Joker. Though he remained at odds with most of the superhero community, Jason was able to find peace and fought crime in his own way as an anti-hero. He even joined the Challengers of the Unknown to save the multiverse and Countdown to Final Crisis, but honestly, most people like to pretend that series never happened. After Bruce's death, Jason went off the deep end, again, and transformed into a murderous version of the Caped Crusader before being put in his place by Dick, who took the mantle from him. After a brief run-in with the new Batman and Robin, Jason reformed, again, and currently leads a ragtag team of superheroes known as the Outlaws with Arsenal and Starfire. Robin number 3, Tim Drake, who first appeared in Batman number 436 in 1989. Tim is the first Robin not handpicked by Bruce. After Jason's death, Bruce was done with sidekicks and would not put another child through such danger. Conveniently, a much younger Tim was also at the circus and witnessed the moment that Dick's parents died. After seeing Robin's gymnastic capabilities in action, he deduced that Robin was Dick, and therefore Batman must be Bruce Wayne. Somehow Tim is literally one of the only people that has ever figured this out, pretty much cementing him as the best detective of the Bat family, next to Bruce of course. Because of Bruce's ban on sidekicks, Tim had to go through Dick and Alfred before convincing Bruce to let him join his crusade. Unlike Jason, Tim Drake was widely adored as Robin, so much so that he was the first Robin to get his own solo series. As Robin, Tim was very involved with his own teen teams, Young Justice and Teen Titans, and bonded very closely to Superman's sidekick, Connor Kent, aka Con-El. Seriously, these two have almost as great of a bromance as Booster Gold and Blue Beetle. But what's a Robin without going against Batman's wishes? Tim quit the role as Robin for a time and left it to his girlfriend, Stephanie Brown, the vigilante known as the Spoiler, who first appeared in Detective Comics number 647 in 1992, but she was actually so terrible at the job that she quickly got herself killed. Tim later returned to his cape and domino mask, and it was revealed that Stephanie's death was just a ruse, and Stephanie eventually took over the role of Batgirl. But you know what, we'll get into that when I do a video on all of the Batgirls. When Bruce apparently met his end at the hands, or should I say eyes, of Darkseid, Tim was the only one who suspected that Bruce might not have died. With a new Robin to take his place, Tim set off on a worldwide adventure as the hero, Red Robin, to try to prove that Bruce was still alive. Real original name there, Tim. Seriously, did you actually name yourself after a burger shop? In the New 52, Tim is still Red Robin and apparently was never Robin. Ever. Because comics, folks. Because comics. The fourth and current Robin is a result of Bruce's, how should I put this, lack of judgment? Years ago, Bruce found himself alone in the desert with Ra's al Ghul's daughter Talia, some poison, and, well, you can piece the rest of that together yourself. Bruce's son, Damian Wayne, is the peak of human genetic potential thanks to being grown in a giant test tube. Thanks, Mom! While Damian first appeared in Batman number 655 in 2006, his first true appearance was as an unnamed baby in the 1987 graphic novel Batman Son of the Demon. That's right, 19 years before we saw Damian's debut in Batman and Son. Raised by the League of Assassins and with a sense of entitlement that makes even the Kardashians look like humble charity workers, Damian is an extremely dangerous little prick that nobody seems to like. Except for Dick Grayson. These two are just adorable together. When Bruce died and Dick became Batman, he chose to watch over Damian by having him officially become Robin, a title he kept all the way up until he died for realsies shortly after Bruce came back to life. Ouch. If you've ever wondered what lengths a father is willing to go to for his son, look no further than Bruce Wayne. While attempting to bring Damian back from the dead, Bruce tried everything and defied everyone, eventually leading a crusade to Apocalypse and warring with Darkseid over his son's corpse. After tricking Darkseid into supercharging an alien crystal with his Omega Sanction, Bruce was able to infuse the energy into his son's corpse and brought him back to life. But, wait, what, Damian's got superpowers now? Because comics. So that's all of the Robins. Quick shout out to Carrie Kelly from The Dark Knight Returns, but since that isn't canon, we're not covering her in this video. However, she does appear in the mainstream DC universe as Damian's pen pal, so who knows? Maybe she'll end up as a true Robin someday. If you want to get started with any of the other characters as either Robin or their later careers, I would say for Dick, read Robin Year One. For Jason, obviously you want to read Under the Red Hood. For Tim, Robin: A Hero Reborn. For Stephanie, Batman War Games. And for Damian, Batman and Robin, Batman Reborn. But now's your chance to let your voice be heard. If you want a full video on Dick Grayson, then click on Nightwing here. But if you want one on Damian Wayne instead, then click on Robin. Still, if you want to educate yourself on some more DC goodness, be sure to check out my video explaining the origins of every single Lantern Corps, or my video on Reverse Flash.